Hello, it's your fave, Scorpio Moon Bay, and welcome back for another video. It is, your fave, the tarot reader, astrologer, and medium, aka Nandi. It's pronounced Nandi, but with it's pronounced Nandi. Yes, it is pronounced Nandi. It's pronounced like Ghandi, but with an N. There you go. So you can remember it. Okay, so today I wanted to just drop this video about what you're going to be experiencing as far as energy-wise the next couple of weeks. We have some planets in movement, and I just want to let you know what's going to be happening as far as maybe like different emotions that are going to be popping up, so you're not caught off guard. And then the second half of the video, we are going to be doing a general reading. So it is a general reading, so just be mindful that if the message does not hit, it's not for you. If it does, yeah, So, but if you want a personalized reading, then hit me up. ScorpioMoonBay.com. Book a reading with me. We can have that combo with your guides and everything, so we can get you a more appropriate message. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, let's get started. So for the astrology forecast, we're going to be looking at March 15th through the 28th. So March 15th, which is yesterday, Mercury moved into Pisces. And so whenever astrologers are looking at anything astrology related, essentially the chart looks like a clock, because there are 12 zodiac signs, just like on a clock. So essentially, just to give you a little bit of a visual, Mercury is sitting at 12 o'clock. So, just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The planet Mercury, excuse me, because the hands on the clock are like the planets kind of moving throughout, or moving around us essentially, because it does feel like we're at the center of the universe, even though we are not. Okay, so the characteristics of Mercury surrounds your communications, transportation, new ideas, the mind, and the way that you think. With Pisces, Pisces energy, the two fish, is very sensitive, very intuitive, very creative, and it also rules the subconscious mind. So one really important thing that I think you should keep in mind during these next 3 weeks, because that's how long Mercury is going to be transiting in this particular sign, or sitting at this particular sign, is how you speak to yourself. Because sometimes our subconscious, it's on autopilot, and so it's constantly absorbing information. So sometimes you could be feeling moments of like self-doubt, and then it's like, if you really think about it, those words or phrases never came from you. They came from outside of you, so definitely keep that in mind, because I think this is the perfect time to kind of dissect and cut away those specific aspects that you don't need, because we're entering into a very new, fresh energy, and you don't need it. You don't need those thoughts. You don't need that self-doubt. You don't need that low self-esteem, really bogging you down. So keep that in mind the next 3 weeks. Also be very compassionate with yourself, because you're taking this time to heal. There's no need to speak to yourself in a negative way. Like, healing takes time, and you just have to be compassionate with yourself and know that you are doing your best each and every day. And that's really all that matters. And, God, the creator, source, whatever you call God, sees that, and sees that you're working, sees that you're trying. That's literally all that the creator wants for you, is to try. And as long as you do that, it's, it's smooth sailing. Well, as much as it could possibly be, it is life. And then I think that's all I wanted to really talk about for Mercury entering into Pisces. But also, I did say that, I think I did. Pisces represents the arts and creativity. So I think do something fun, do something creative, whether that be coloring or putting a really cute outfit together, just cause why not? Why not? So next thing on the list is March 20th. We have the sun entering Aries, which means it's going to be Aries season. fiery, passionate, just, it's going to be great. Because Aries is the energy of initiation, the entrepreneur, you know, stepping into your confidence and your power. And then you have the sun, which is the self, vitality, willpower, the heart space, life force, individuality. So really figure out, you know, who are you as an individual outside of what society tells you that you're supposed to be, tells you who you are supposed to be. Definitely take the time. You know, I think journaling is a huge help. You know, I know everyone cannot afford therapy, so crying and writing in your journal will match made in heaven. So I think definitely do that, and I think that will really help. And then also write down your goals and aspirations. You know, what are you working towards? What do you want to work towards? You know, try to figure those things out, you know, because we're entering into spring, which is all about renewal, love, new beginnings. So I think just really step into your confidence and step outside of your comfort zone, you know, and explore, do something different, you know. All right, so March 21st, Venus is entering into the sign of Aries. So Venus would essentially be sitting on 1 o'clock, since Aries is the first zodiac sign. So, okay, so Venus is definitely the planet of love, money, feminine energy, beauty, attraction, and romance. And then of course you have Aries, which is the spontaneous, like, energy, daring, independent. So first things first, if you are not trying to have a child, you need to either spit, swallow, or wrap that shit up. So that's your only options. Because again, you have the planet of love entering into the zodiac sign of passion. So this is definitely the energy for spontaneous romantic ventures, but also be spontaneous with yourself. You know, like right now, I am single, and so I've been taking myself on dates, you know, and, you know, go chilling in the park and stuff like that. And it's been fun, you know, because I'm like, again, I want to take care of myself. I want to show myself love because I deserve, you know, and I think that's something that you could really benefit from if you are single, but also if you are in a partnership. I think you could be a little bit more assertive about what your needs are, because sometimes, because of life, you know, we kind of put our needs on the back burner in order to accommodate someone else's needs. And it's not fair, for you at least, because it creates a lot of imbalance. So I think really figure out what you need for you, and then really try to voice what you need to your partner or to your friends and family and stuff like that, so you can really just be a little bit more balanced within yourself, and you have a little bit more energy to give as well, and create more harmony in your relationships too. So the last thing we have on March 28th is going to be the full moon in Libra. So full moons are all about the unconscious, illusions, surrender, flow, and gratitude, and release as well. And then you have the sign of Libra, which is also ruled by the planet Venus. Libra energy is very harmonious, very much like the peacemaker. Partnerships are very charming. So I think really be aware, like I kind of mentioned earlier, of those areas in your relationships, or even within yourself, where there's not enough balance, because you really have to be mindful of how you're delegating your time and energy, because again, I think that there's so many times, even with myself personally, where I'm trying to reach all these goals and aspirations, and I don't take the time to rest and just chill and do something for myself. You know, Libra definitely, you know, like I said, is represented by the planet Venus. So really do something good for yourself. And, you know, definitely surround yourself in beauty and very tranquil energy, whether that be candles, you know, some wine, you know, some weed, whatever you need to just mellow out and just kind of chill. And then also the full moon is all about releasing. So if you need to cry, let that shit go. Again, like I said earlier, crying is one of the it's extremely therapeutic. It's so, like, I don't care what you identify as, crying is like the easiest thing you can do. And every single time that I've had a moment where I've just like cried and just released all of those like emotions and allowed them to flow, one, I felt so much better, and then two, the amount of clarity that came through after I did all that releasing, because it's like you release and now spirit has more room to give you more information, whatever that may be. It could be clarity on your relationships, how to move forward in life, how to make certain business decisions, whatever that may be, you know, because if you release, like if you're like spring cleaning, perfect example, if you throw out all those old clothes that you don't need and donate them, you have more room for better things. So there you go. So that is the astrology forecast for the next couple weeks. So good luck. I hope this information helps. So let's go ahead and get into the general reading, okay? Okay, so let's get into the general reading. I actually went ahead and pulled a few oracle cards just to get us started. I did some meditation and everything this morning to kind of figure out exactly what spirit wanted to say to you today. So what I'm going to be doing is one section for the past, what you need to release, what you need to be mindful of from the past, the present, where you are now and what you need to work on, and then the future of what you can be looking forward to, or what kind of things you can keep in mind as far as what you should be creating for whatever endeavors you have coming up. So for the past, we have patience, and the observer. Hope you can see that clearly. Then for the present, we have speak your truth, soul work, underworld, and share wisdom. Okay, so let's start with the present. Let's start with the past. So for the past, we have patience, and then there's like this little turtle shell, and there's a lot of like foliage and everything kind of growing around, and then there's roots at the bottom. So I think that this definitely represents, like slow and steady wins the race. Like I mentioned earlier, that in the past you may have not been so compassionate and patient with yourself, and I think now is the time to really act on that and really focus on that. And then also, there's like roots at the bottom. So really do what you need to do to identify and be aware of those thoughts and projections that were never yours to begin with. Because again, we're starting fresh into this Aries season, this new zodiac or astrological year. And I think it's so important that, if you really want to just go straight out the gate with whatever you're working on, I think it's really important to really think back to your past and figure out what needs to be healed, and then also be patient with yourself and where you're trying to go, because again, the more you try to rush certain things, like you can't rush healing, you can't rush your growth, you can't rush the creation of a business. There's certain steps that you have to take, and then there's always like a waiting period in between each step too. So it's like you have to really, really be patient and mindful of what you need and what you don't need. And then we have the observer as well. So again, I just think really observe and be aware of what thoughts are constantly popping up. If it's thoughts surrounding, self-doubt, just be like, wait a minute. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why this is there. So it's just like really observe what you're feeling and what you're seeing. And then we have the crystal ball in the middle. And I don't know, part of me feels like this is supposed to be like the earth essentially. And then there's like hands and like cords or strings attached to it. And then there's like the fingers are kind of playing with these cords. So I feel like for me, that's saying that like, no matter what happened in your past, that does not define you. It does shape who you are, but it does not define you. And so it's really important to kind of learn from these lessons. And a lot of times we think that we have a lot of control over things that are outside of us, but we don't. You know, it's one of those things where with life, it's like you have to take those appropriate steps for you and then kind of let the pieces fall where they may. Because spirit needs time to kind of move and everything before certain things are set into place, you know? So it's like you have to allow spirit to move. You have to allow yourself patience to kind of figure things out. So I think from the past, really, really be mindful of where you are now. And, you know, and again, don't let these past things define you. Be patient. Just be patient. Okay. So before I move on to the present, I do have one card for, oops. I do have one card, here we go, for, to represent the past. I actually filmed this video yesterday and I don't know what happened to it. So here we are. But we have standstill. So yeah, I think in the past there could have been moments where you allowed external things. It could have been like external validation or external criticisms to allow you to kind of be stagnant. And I think it's, yeah, really take the time to kind of observe those aspects so that in the future they don't hinder your growth, you know, because I know everyone is trying to build something for themselves, something that's stable, you know, like the roots on this tree. And it's crazy, you know, because like this is very much like swampland too. And it's like, you can't move real quick through a swamp. Like, that's just not how it is. So this definitely, I'm hearing that like, if there are moments where you were stagnant because of like certain emotions, or maybe even like depression is a really, really big one. You kind of just have to like, you have to just sit in it. You can't, you know, like there's no point in forcing it. There's no point in trying to do other things to distract yourself from it. It's just like you have to just kind of sit in it and observe what's coming up for you, because that's all you could do, and that's what your spirit guides need you to do, so you can make sure that you learn from the past so that in the future you don't make these same mistakes, or when you're feeling really unbalanced or depressed, you know how to heal yourself or be more compassionate with yourself in a better way. Okay, so let me pull out. These three cards did come out for the present, but let me go over the other cards first. Okay, so we have Speak Your Truth and Soul Work for the present. Hope you can see this clearly. So with Speak Your Truth, again, it's a sword, which that makes me feel like there's no reason to fight yourself, especially because again, you are your own best friend. You are your own support system, and it's important to really make sure that you're cutting away those thoughts and projections that they don't belong to you. They're not for you. And then there's like barbed wire around this sword as well. So it's just like, yeah, those thoughts are really more so doing more harm than good, you know, because there's even like barbed wire around like the handle of the sword as well. So it's like you can't even like there's so much going on that you're not even able to really focus on what needs to be done, because if you're cutting anything, you have to be precise. And I think that your thoughts, if you really take the time, your thoughts will really illuminate those areas of your life that really need a little bit more TLC. And I think just really take your time to kind of figure those things out, because you will, you know, your guides, you know, and definitely call upon your guides. You can, I know one of my faves is Archangel Michael, you know, because he has the fiery sword. And so you can really call upon him and ask him to help you cut away or identify those thoughts that need to be severed. And And then also speak your truth, you know, figure out, especially in relationships and partnerships, speak your truth. What do you need from other people? What do you need for yourself in order for you to stay balanced? And then we have soul work. So there's like this little bumblebee and there's like a diamond on his back. So I think with bees, they're very diligent about what they do in their job. So I think you have to be very, very diligent about how you handle your own healing process, because at the end of the day, no one can do that for you. So you have to constantly be identifying these aspects that need to be cut away, so that they no longer hinder you in the future. And with this diamond, you know, like I mentioned in the past does not define you, but it did kind of help shape and mold you. And like every single diamond or every single gemstone, they are unique, they are individual, they are precious, and they are beautiful. And that goes for you as well. So really think about those areas that you know, just really give yourself some grace, really be compassionate with yourself, and know that the best is yet to come if you're dealing with a very hard time or a very hard moment in your life right now. Because again, you know, like back to the Observer card, God or your guides are really trying to shape you into the strong and amazing person that you know that you are at your core. But you have to take the time to kind of discover what that looks like. Don't get in my water. No. Not bad. Not bad. So for these other oracle cards, we have flow, adventure, and love. So with flow, like I mentioned earlier, like if you gotta fucking cry. That's what you need to do. And you know, there's like this full moon, so you may be feeling a lot of emotions just trying to like come out during the full moon on the 28th, because again, it's just like your guides are trying to make room for these new and amazing things in your life. But if you don't have room, especially emotionally, mentally, or physically, then where is it gonna go? And it's one of those things where that current or that flow is just going to keep moving, and it's just going to keep going, and it can, you know, you might miss the boat, you know, a couple times because you're not ready. You're not ready for that new information or that new opportunity, because you have not taken the time to heal yourself. And once you do that, you know, that opens you up to many different things. I feel like, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Adventures. So yeah, do something special for yourself, you know, or just go outside of what you normally do. So yeah, and then there again, like I mentioned earlier with the flow, there's like this waterfall in the background of this card. So it's just like things are like spirit really wants to like pour in new opportunities, new situations, new ways of doing things for you, but you got to make room. You got to make room, you know. And then there's like these birds flying across. So it's like you have to kind of look at things from a different perspective. Like I said earlier, the past does not define you. So really observe those elements from your past that you could use in your tool chest, essentially, or you can use as a tool to, you know, like if you know better, you do better. And that's essentially it. And then love. So yeah, it's just like whatever you're working on is going to create this space for new seeds and new things to just blossom. And again, I think really, really treat yourself with compassion. You know, like you can't rush a flower to grow. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with it. So I think really just kind of figure out how you need to nurture yourself, how you need to nurture your ideas and new creative endeavors in a way that's going to be the best for you. And then I think everything else will really just flow very nicely, and it's going to be great. Okay, so now we have the future. So we have the underworld, and then share wisdom, And then the other oracle card that came out for you from this other deck is thriving. So let's start with the underworld. There is like this barbed wire that's binding these hands. So I think, yeah, really be mindful of those ways that, of those thoughts. Really be mindful of those thoughts and emotions that need to be cut away now, because in the future you don't want that to hinder what you're trying to build for yourself. And sometimes we can be our own, you know, self-saboteur, and it's not fair for you. And again, be patient, be compassionate with yourself, because you will be able to get through it, and you will be able to identify those areas in your life that need a little bit of TLC. And then because there's like these threads on the hands as well. So yeah, because it's just like, if you don't do what needs to be done now, there's going to be so many things that you're trying to juggle in the future, and you're not going to know what the fuck to do with anything that's happening. So and then also these cords are like disconnected from everything. So it's just like, really connect with yourself, really connect with your subconscious and the unconscious, because that's going to really tell you where you need to go, how you need to get there, and in the best way possible. And like I said earlier, really try to speak to your guides. Again, you could start off with Archangel Michael, and he will definitely come through. In my experience, Archangel Michael shows up. Either you see a feather on the ground, or you get really hot, like you're fucking sweating, or you hear the name Michael a lot is another really, really big one too. And you can also see certain things in your dreams. You know, like I mentioned earlier with Mercury into Pisces, really be mindful of your dreams. You know, since Pisces represents the subconscious, or the subconscious mind, your dreams are going to be giving you a lot of insight as to what needs to be released and what needs to be let go, because you can't take this shit into this next phase of your life. Because there's this little tree in this Share the Wisdom card, because it's like you have so much wisdom because of what you went through in your past. And so in this moment, you know, really something that I've done is journal what you've gone through and how you overcame those situations, and also write down what you want, what you need for yourself, and then also who you are, you know, because like at your core, you are confident, you are amazing, you are special, you are unique, you are creative, and fill in the blanks, you know, however you see fit, but that is you. And then it's like, once you take the time to observe those elements of yourself, those really precious and intricate parts of yourself, you're going to be able to share that with others, whether that be with wisdom or with knowledge, or it could just be simply love. You know, sharing love, you know, because hurt people. And I think it's really time for us to stop doing that shit, you know. I think that goes back to like speak your truth, essentially, because the sword, and there's so much like barbed wire around the sword and the handle, you know, hurt people, you know. It's like you're trying to hurt someone else with what you say and what you do, but essentially you're only hurting yourself. And I mean, if you're trying to build something good for yourself, you ain't got time for all that bullshit. So then we have thriving, and again, there's another full moon up here at the corner. So it's like, yeah, look at things from a different perspective. You know, don't, you know, so it's like, okay, this is a situation where I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of it, but what can I do in this moment to help things a little easier? And sometimes it could be a certain task that you need to complete, or it could be something as simple as you needed to take a nap. You needed to take a nap, you know, really be mindful of, you know, I speak on this a lot because it's so important. humans only operate on two different polarities. No matter what you identify as, no matter, that doesn't matter. You will identify with this, I promise. So humans operate on masculine and feminine energies, just like the yin and yang. The black is the feminine, the white is the masculine. The feminine energy is magnetism, sensuality, beauty, sensitivity, spirituality. And then you have the masculine energy, which is very much like Aries energy, which is the go-getter, the external world, action, confidence, things like that. So it's like, if you're leaning too much into this masculine energy where you're just going full force into every single thing that you do and not resting in that feminine energy, you're unbalanced. You know, you really have to show yourself some love. Like, if you're a guy, you know, do some skincare, you know, go get your nails done. You ain't got to get that, you know, you don't have to get your shit painted, but like, it's really therapeutic to just, like, if you feel good, you look, and you feel good and you look good. It's just, you know. So really take care of yourself. And I think in the future, that's the best way for you to thrive, is if you really just like focus on what you need. And again, with adventures, you know, venture out of your comfort zone, figure out different elements or different ways that you can do or be, or figure out other ways to heal that are healthier for you. You know, like, I enjoy smoking weed all day, but there are times where I have to be mindful of if I'm using weed to numb the pain, or if I'm really just fucking chilling and enjoying Netflix. But, you know, again, it's like, those are those things that you have to be mindful of and aware. It's like, what are you running from? Why are you running? It's probably one of those things where you just gotta stand still and figure out, you know, what you need to do to heal. Because again, you can push forward all you want in that masculine energy, but that at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not balanced, you're not going to be getting very far, you know. And that's speaking from experience. So let's get into some tarot cards to try to clarify a couple of these messages. Okay. Spirit, can we get 2 cards for the past? Two cards for the past, Spirit. Okay. One more card. No. Okay, I thought another card flipped over. So we have the 7 of Pentacles, and then the 9 of Swords, but that came out in reverse. So yeah, this is speaking to me just like, because she's, you know, upset. It's at night, so she's probably not able to really sleep, you know, because again, if you're unbalanced, if you're unbalanced internally, everything outside of you is just going to go to shit. Every single time. No matter what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build, is going to go to shit. So you have to take the time to actually rest, to actually release, you know, those like thoughts that don't serve you anymore. Because the number 9 represents release and unpacking. So yeah, so it came out in reverse. So I think that people are definitely going to be a little bit more mindful of what they need to release as far as like their thoughts. And I think really, really take time to do that. You know, we did get the 7 of Pentacles. There's so many amazing things that there's so many different seeds that you probably planted in the past. And again, like I mentioned earlier with flowers or your own healing, you can't rush the process. You really just have to kind of you just gotta flow with it and just let things kind of happen the way it's supposed to happen, you know, and it's going to be okay. You can't sit here waiting for something to happen. You gotta move. You gotta, you know, get out there, do something a little different, you know. It's not this is like the one time in your life that you should not be stagnant. You know, it's the perfect time to get moving, you know, because again, like I said earlier, your past does not define you. You probably planted some really, really good seeds in the past, but if you don't do what you need to do to nurture them, so like I mentioned earlier with like a business plan, there's certain things that you have to do each step. And you know, there's always like a waiting period in between each step. So it's like, you know, make sure that you're taking those steps, doing what you need to do. That's essentially, if you have a business, that's you nurturing those seeds, that's you nurturing that idea. And even with your own healing, you know, there's a lot of maybe pain and trauma that happened in the past, you know. So what are you doing to nurture yourself? Are you eating healthier foods? Are you doing things you know, to numb the pain? Keep that in mind, you know, and maybe find something a little healthier for you to kind of heal, you know, like journaling, like crying, like going for walks, you know, something. So Spirit, let's get 2 cards for the present. Okay. So we got Judgment in reverse. And then we got the Lovers also came out in reverse. So for this one, and again, I'm an intuitive reader, so it's just, I really go based off of what I'm feeling. So with this, again, this definitely reminds me of, for some reason, of like Archangel Michael. And he's really, you know, your guides are really trying to like pull you, you know, like they're really trying to like put life into you. But if you're just kind of, you know, if you don't have room, they're not able to really do that for you. You know, they can only do so much. It's like you have to meet them halfway. And since this came out in reverse, I think really release judgment of yourself. So like I mentioned earlier, if you are having, as an example, a depressive episode, it's okay. You're not lazy, you're not worthless if you're not able to really do anything. That just means that your body is literally telling you that you need to chill out, that you need to take time to heal, that it's, you know, your body is incapable of really doing much of anything in that moment. And you have to do whatever you need to do to really just like love and nurture yourself. And then, you know, your guides are just, you know, sending, like it's almost like holding a baby, you know, your guides are really trying to send you a lot of like nurturing and loving energy, but you also have to release judgment for yourself, you know, because again, if you're having a depressive episode and you can't do anything, then that means that you are completely drained. And you have to be mindful of, again, like I mentioned earlier, how are you delegating your time and energy? And then we have the Lovers. It did come out in reverse, but for me, you know, like I mentioned earlier with like the masculine and feminine energies, you have the feminine energy, which is looking to spirit, because feminine energy is connected a little bit more so to spirit because of the intuition and everything like that, like woman's intuition, you know. And then you have the masculine energy, which is looking at her, because the masculine energy is the external world. And so again, you have to be mindful of which side you're leaning too much on. Because again, if you're drained, you're not going to be able to get much done. If you're imbalanced internally, everything around you is going to be chaos. And then you have the angel appear, which I believe this is supposed to be Archangel Gabriel. But yeah, just all love. You know, your guides really want to give you love. And then like I mentioned earlier with the Observer card, you know, spirit and our guides, like they really do pull the strings. You know, we think that we have a lot of control in life, but we don't. You know, it's just like we kind of have to go with the flow and allow things to kind of fall where they may. So that's why right here there's like this cloud, because again, we can only see what's happening in this earthly realm. We can't see all the little intricate details that go into the spiritual, like we have no, there's so much that happens in the spiritual realm. We just don't know, you know. And it's just like you have to kind of be balanced within yourself, trust your intuition, know who you are and understand who you are, and just know that your guides truly have your best intentions. despite what happened in the past, you know, because of people not really respecting you in whatever way. Yeah. They're sending you love. They really are. And then there's like this cityscape in the background. So again, it's like you really have to like step outside of these societal norms of not taking care of yourself, not being mindful of your own mental health. Because, you know, that shit's not taught, you know, and it should be, because it's very important and it's very crucial to your own growth and development and your evolution. And, yeah. 2 cards for the future, Spirit, okay? So we have the 6 of Wands, and then we have the 8 of Wands. So this for me represents victory. You know, she's wearing like this V earring, and then, you know, she's on this horse. So like in the future, you have a lot of really great things to look forward to if in this present moment you do what you need to do in order to heal and take care of yourself and treat yourself with love and compassion. Because, and this is like a white horse, and white represents spirit. So just be, if you heal yourself, do what you need to do for you, and you have trust and faith in your guides, they are going to lead you into a wonderful phase in your life, you know. And then we have the 8 of Wands. You know, it looks like they're moving quickly like arrows through the air, and then you have this person on a motorcycle that's just zooming. So it's like really great and amazing things could be coming into your life quickly if you make the room. If you make the room. But right now, focus on loving yourself. You know, focus on healing yourself, whatever that may look like, in the healthiest way that you can do at this moment. And you're going to be just fine. So let's get, I have these that I pulled earlier from, I couldn't reach it. Oh my God. So I have this amazing like crystal deck. And so I did pull these cards for the message, for the collective message. So we have Amethyst Phantom Quartz, Desert Rose, Golden Anhydro Herkimer, and then Amazonite. Okay, so let's start with the amethyst. Words, English. Okay, here we go. Expression, gifts, originality. Amethyst Phantom Quartz fosters prolific energy and opens the crown chakra to channel creativity in all forms. Individuality is encouraged, and uniqueness in expression is embraced by this stone. Amethyst instills confidence in your creations, and urges you to share your talents. Using intuition as a powerful resource, Amethyst connects you with your spiritual team to convey your ideas in a way that will stand out. Do yourself a favor and show the world what you've got. Yeah. Because I think, you know, that definitely goes with the future, because it's like, again, you got to step with your best foot forward. And your guides are your biggest fucking cheerleaders. I am too. So we have the Desert Rose, time travel, ancestral healing, and patience. A natural beauty, Desert Rose and its petals were patiently etched by the sand, carrying with them a special message that good things take time. Desert Rose promotes mental clarity by releasing negative belief systems and that no longer serve you. Desert Rose has this special power of time travel and is able to heal the past wounds that still affect you today and alleviate pain from this lifetime and a past life. Use this stone to connect with your ancestors or past selves, so you can reconcile with them. Yeah, that goes definitely with the past. Just like, you gotta be mindful of what thoughts are yours and what is not, and what needs to be healed. So again, huge. So we have Golden Anhydro Herkimer. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but here we are. Containing floating gold liquid, the Herkimer is named after the oil suspended within the crystal, rare and possessing wisdom from the Himalayas where it is found. This stone stimulates the third eye and enhances intuition and connecting to the universe. The golden anhydro promotes gender fluidity and acceptance, assisting in transitions and connecting with one's gender on healing wounds, strongly tied to the solar plexus. Golden anhydro can clear out emotional baggage from many lifetimes. Live out loud and proud. Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier with the masculine and feminine energies, you know, even if you are a man, you know, do what you need to do to heal yourself. You know, don't listen to these don't listen to these motherfuckers, you know, who are gonna tell you how to be a man, because again, those ideas and ways of doing things are so outdated, because again, masculine energy is also destructive energy, and it's like if you're not doing what you need to do in the correct way, you could actually do more harm than good. You know, like I said earlier, hurt people, and that's not what you're about. And I know, because I know that people at their core, you know, always want to step in this energy of love and be more loving, but if you're being destructive, you know, you have to keep that in mind. And it, again, you know, I'm not trying to berate you or make you feel like you should be upset with yourself or anything. Again, learn from your mistakes. That's all I ask from people, and that's also what your guides and the creator ask from you, is just to try, because at the end of the day, that's really all you need to really focus on. So Amazonite, objective filter, objectivity, filter, truth, words. Filtering vibrations is what Amazonite does best, from electromagnetic pollution, your thoughts, and environmental influences. So if you are prone to environmental sensitivity, Amazonite has your back. This is a great way to cleanse yourself from the technology if you need a break from your devices. Amazonite encourages discernment, allowing you to be unbiased in your decision making. Objectivity leads the way, offering clarity on which choices are best for you, detach from the outside in order to connect with the inside. Like I mentioned earlier with that masculine energy and how he's looking elsewhere, you know, at her. So it's like the external world, you know, it's like you have to kind of take the time to go within and figure out and remember how special you truly are, despite what society tells you, despite what external people or situations have tried to make you feel. Remember who you are. You know, like on this card, soul work card, you are this diamond. You know, you are so precious. And with a bumblebee, you know, it's a part of a community, a hive, and you know, everyone wants to feel like they belong. But again, it's really hard to do that and feel that if you're hanging on to these external ways of doing things. You know, all of these weird societal norms and ways of doing, they're so outdated. And like if you pay attention to history and pay attention to the past, observe the past, you know, being destructive, being, you know, hurt people, being in that mindset and that energy literally does nothing. It does not, like, there's no growth, there's no evolution in that energy. So this is the last deck I'm going to use, and this is my heavy hitter right here. You know, the messages that come out with this deck is like, you heard. it's like, did you hear me? You heard me? Okay. I love you, but tough love, but still. You can hear these messages today. This is how this deck is, but I love it. Let me get a few cards from this deck, Spirit, to close us out. One more card, Spirit. Two, just kidding. Okay. And this deck uses like essential oils to kind of give like a little extra message, and chakras as well based on the colors. So we have the first one, Siberian Fur, acceptance. Trigger statement, we must remember. True statement, I am free of the habits that do not serve me. Lay down the armor passed down to you from your family. Release habits that are not serving you and forgive on behalf of generations past. That comes down to, like I mentioned earlier, with Mercury moving into Pisces and your subconscious. You know, a lot of times with trauma and things like that and generational curses, there's a lot of information that is passed down a lot of times subconsciously, and that could be through you know, like the saying where men have to be men or boys don't cry, that bullshit. Yeah. So so that's another thing, you know, that's just an example of some things that need to go. They do not serve you. By you not accepting who you fully are, you not accepting what you feel, it's essentially like drinking poison, you know, like with this card, speak your truth, and with the sword, and there's like all this barbed wire even on the handle. It's like you're trying to do all these things, but it's hurting you in the process. You being destructive it's detrimental to everyone, including yourself. So, you know, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay, marjoram, comfort. People cannot be trusted. Okay, yeah, that was the trigger statement. True statement, I trust my heart. Your big, beautiful heart is ready to open. Trust that you will be able to discern who is best to walk with you. Yeah, if you need to leave some people in the past, leave some mindsets in the past, that's okay. You can't base situations currently on what happened in the past. So if you went through a really terrible breakup, as an example, you can't base every single relationship in the future based off of what happened in the past, because every single person is different. And the way that the universe works, that if you do the healing work that you need to do, the universe is going to mirror that energy that you're giving off. So if you're giving off aggression and defensiveness, the universe is going to send you someone that is also aggressive and defensive. But if you walk into the state, and if you walk into every situation with these fresh new eyes, as if it's like a brand new adventure, you will be thoroughly surprised at what the universe sends you. It's truly amazing. And so we have repellent, shielded. Trigger statement, I am under attack. True statement, I am strong. You will clearly see what you are talking on from words. You will clearly see what you are taking on from the outside influences and release. Your energetic boundaries are fortified. Yeah, once you take the time to kind of just observe, sit with yourself for a little bit, do some journaling, you'll figure it out. You'll know what thoughts are yours and what mindsets are yours and what needs to let go. Because if you observe what mindsets and what ways of doing things don't work anymore, it's just peace and love. Okay, so the next card, tension, release. Trigger statement, I have nothing left. True statement, I nurture myself. Dear one, it is time to settle. Create a sacred space where you can be. In that place of rest, healing will unfold. Yeah. If you need to just buy a whole bunch of pillows and shit, make yourself a fort. Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh, that sounds great. Make yourself a fort, and just chill. Journal, color if you need to. Very therapeutic. So the last one we have is coriander, honoring self. Trigger statement, this is the way that it has always been. True statement, I create my way. You are ready to fulfill your desires by thinking outside the box. The path less traveled may be more fulfilling. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier with the lovers and like the cityscape, and for me that represents like societal norms. You know, just because this particular path has not been created does not mean that it's not your path. It, you know, because again, each of us are so unique and so different, and a lot of us, you know, I feel like even as a child, you know, the main jobs, it was like to be a lawyer, a doctor, something like that, and those are not the only jobs out there for people to do, you know. And I feel like because of quarantine and things like that, people have been able to create their own amazing and prosperous businesses and things like that, or find other companies that actually allow them to be their amazing self, just as an example. I mean, but also, you know, you are your own person. We're all individuals. You know, there are 7-ish billion people on this earth, you know, and that we can't all stick to the same weird standard, because there's so many of us. We're also different. But we can also work together to create, you know, a more like harmonious world, you know, that actually makes sense. Because again, if we look to the past and what our forefathers did, it was all some bullshit, to be honest. So I think it's time for us to really just kind of like create our own path. And I think at the end of the day, you know, like this little bumblebee on this card, we're really going to be able to create better and healthier environments, you know, if we're more, you know, diligent, if we're a little bit more diligent with what we need right now. All of that love that you give to yourself is going to be just, it's going to explode like outward to everyone around you. And yeah, you know, that's my little hippie message. Okay, so that's everything that I'm feeling right now. Yeah, so this is a general reading, just to keep that in mind. But if you do want a personal reading, definitely go to ScorpioMoonBay.com. I will have all of that information down below in the description box, or it's also in my bio as well. So definitely look to that if you want a little bit more of a personalized reading, so you can get that one-on-one time with me and your guides as well, because I know they're itching to talk to you. And sometimes because of what's happening in daily life, you know, sometimes we may not have the time to really connect like we probably should, and that's okay. It happens. So yeah, if you definitely want a more personalized reading, definitely hit me up and we'll get something together and straight for you. But yeah, I really hope that this message helps. I just really want to send, you know, out love and encouraging words, because I know that life can be really difficult. But we can make it much better. I know we can. Because like this card says, you know, I create my own way. So yeah, I think that's definitely the the phrase of the day. But yeah, so here am I. So yeah, sending love. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching me do this. And I just hope that you have a little bit more clarity on where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do, and what you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, you've got this. I know you do. You know, even speaking from experience, life may seem really, really difficult and really chaotic at the moment, but I promise that if you take the time to heal and do what you need to do for you, everything outside of you is going to be more harmonious and tranquil, and that's all you need. So thank you again. Thank you for over here. There you go. Thank you for joining me. And tune in soonish. I'll be posting soon again. So yeah, sending love. I hope you guys have a good day, good week, good life. Yeah, all of that. So bye.